Awesome. All right, Unit 1, Section 7 homework. This is 9 through 16. So this is the second page. Okay, let's start with 9. Now this one looks a little different. I put this on here because this is a common type of question. If my camera will refocus. There we go. Okay, so I want to get A, and notice A is in the bottom of my fraction. So there's multiple ways you can do a lot of these. This one, I think the easiest thing to do is just to cross multiply. Let's start with that. That way it gets my A out of the fraction. I don't want that. So I'm going to do C times R equals A times D. Okay, so look, now I have no more fractions, and I'm still solving for A, which means I have to get rid of D. And we've seen this question before, so it's A times D. So to get rid of D, or move it, I'm not getting rid of it, I'm moving it, right? Times D, I would now do divided by D, and that would be my answer. And that's number 9. Okay, number 10. I want to solve for M. Here's my M right here. So I have to get rid of A and B. And then I can get M. So I'm going to start with Z. Okay. And remember, the way I phrase it is I work backwards from the other side. So I'm going to work away from M, and then I can work next to M. Okay, so I have to work going towards the letter. So I start with Z, and instead of plus B, I'm going to do minus B. That gets rid of the B. And M times A. Okay, so to get rid of A, instead of times A, I'm going to do divided by A. And that gives me M. And then when you divide stuff like this, you have to divide everything. So not just the first one or the second one, it's all of it. Okay. So that would be my final answer. And number 11. Look at this. This is great. So I want X. Here's X. I only have to get rid of K. So I'm going to start with the other side. So I'm going to do W plus V. Okay. Now this is K times X. So to get rid of K, instead of times, I'm going to do divided by. And that is it. There is my answer right there. See, most of these go pretty quick once you know what you're doing or kind of understand it. You might have 1 or 2 steps, maybe. For the most part, though, it's pretty short, simple, to the point. Because, again, I don't have numbers, so I don't actually have to add or divide or multiply, nothing like that. All right, 12. I want A. Here's A. So if I look, I only have to get rid of K. So I'm going to start with the other side. I have W minus V. And instead of plus K, to move it, I'm going to do minus K. And I just tack it on to the end. I have nothing else, so that is my answer. And I'm done. Number 13. It's out of focus, 13. Okay, I want W. Here's W. So if I want W, all I have to do is get rid of V. So this is kind of like the one we just had. I'm going to start with the other side. So I have K plus A, right? Now, instead of plus V or positive V, I'm just going to write negative V or minus V, same thing. Okay, so V is moved, and all I have left is W. That's my answer. Okay, 14. Ooh, this is a fun one. So I want X, and look, X is all the way up here at the top. So if X is in the top of my fraction, I'm going to leave it alone. I don't want to move it. It's right where it needs to be. Okay? But I still need to work backwards and to get up to X. So I'm going to start with Z. Okay, Z. Now I need to get rid of Y and M. Okay, again, I have to go backwards. I can't start next to x, I have to start away from x. So if this is divided by y, to move it, I'm going to do times y. Okay, so z times y. And then up the top, because it's x times m, to move m, I would do divided by m. And then I'm left with equals x. That's my answer. And if you're OCD and you just keep panicking because I don't close my boxes, I'm sorry. I don't intentionally do that. That just happens. I'm just trying to, kind of enclose my answer, but I don't want to box it in. It's a terrible joke. Anyways, 15, I want to solve for a. Here's my a. So again, I have to get rid of k and my negative, because you can't have the negative, right? So I'm going to start with the other side of the equation. And now that's a positive k, so when I move it, it becomes a negative k. And then to get rid of my negative 1, again, I can do divided by negative 1, or I can just change all my signs. So everything flips, and then that just equals a. Okay? I know, I leave a little air hole in my box so my letters don't die. Terrible joke. Okay. K. Here's K. Oh, this is an interesting one. So I have to get rid of A, and notice how these are parentheses. So I don't have to say I'm getting rid of everything inside the parentheses, right? Because things in parentheses are one group. So I have to get rid of one group, like one parentheses. So I have to get rid of the A and the parentheses together. All right? So I start with U. Now, this is the interesting part, and this goes by really fast. Because it's K times A and times the parentheses, right? Because there's nothing in between those. So it's K times A and times the parentheses. Those are both multiplied. Instead of multiply, I'm going to divide by A and the parentheses, okay? So look, I'll do one at a time. K times A. So to move A, instead of times A, I'm going to divide by A, okay? That's the divided by A. And now, say the A weren't there, it would just be K parentheses, right? Which means K times the parentheses. Instead of times or multiply, I'm going to divide by the parentheses. And I'm left with equals K. There is my answer. So again, I'm multiplying K times two things, so I divide by those two things. It's just one thing is a letter and one thing is a parentheses. Okay? Oh, wow, that's already the end of the video. Awesome. Okay, so that was 9 through 16. End of the video. If you need the rest of them, go to the next video, I guess. There should be one on there, I hope.